Okay, so today's main topic is a data frame. I'll say the data frame is the most important data structure in R. Okay, the data frame. And you know the data frame is just like a list, right? Just like a list. It's very similar, except, right? Except that in data frame, right? Data frame's member, right? Their member must be all vectors of the equal length. So this is most important. Has to be the equal length, right? And the vectors including a factor. Because you know that it's a factor, right? It's a factor, right? It's, roughly this is a vector, right? It's, so some authors, they call it as a factor vector, right? Factor vector, right? It's very hard to write in mouse. Okay, hold on. Let's see, eraser. The factor, factor value, a vector, right? Some authors call it a factor as a value, factor value vector, right? So it's just typical vector and including the factor, right? So some people call it factor, the factor value vector, or some people call it a factor, a vector, right? So, but the important thing is what? Equal length, right? So that's the important key point. So that's the main difference. If you look at the list, each component, right? It's first of all, does not have to be the vector, right? Or it doesn't have to be all the components in the list doesn't have to be the equal size, right? Yes, the data frame has a lot of restriction compared to the list. Okay, so that's a data frame, right? So now let's take a look at the example. So this is how you can construct the data frame, right? And you use the data frame function, data.frame. So in this example, they create. So let's take a look at this example. They're using data frame as a function, right? And then they have how many vector? They have a 3 vector, right? And then you have to really label it. Label each component, right? Each element in data frame. So this is a person, and this is a vector, right? Peter, Louis, Mac, Chris, and Stewie, right? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5, right? That's a size. And then if you look at the age, the 5, and then the sex is a factor, right? So as we can see, it consists of, right? Data frame consists of, in this case, 3 vectors, right? If you consider it factor as a vector, right? And then what is the size of each member? The 5, right? So if you type my data, it's like a spreadsheet. So first is a person. So this is a column, the person column, and this is what? This age column, and then the last one is a sex, right? So this is last column. So in a sense that this is like a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, right? Okay. And if you happen to have a, one of the member, right? If it has happened to be a less than, let's say 5, then they recycle, right? Any short vector to match the longest. But I don't really recommend to use, it's recommended that every member has to be the same length, right? Okay. Now, if you can pinpoint. You can pinpoint each element, right? So for example, if you want to pinpoint 40, then this is what? This is the row number 2, and this is what? This is column number 2, right? So when you say 2, 2, you got 40, right? And then let's say if you want to pinpoint this guy in the square brackets, this is what? Row number 5, right? And this is what? This is column number 3, right? So 5 to 3. Okay. Yes, you can use this colon notation, right? Subsetting or the slicing, right? So this is a 3 to 5. And then what? Third column, right? So row is a 3 to 5. Let's just 3 to 5. And this is 3, right? So it's 3 to 5, 3 to 5. And then the third column, right? So this is a slicing, right? So this is a concept of slicing, and this is what concept of subsetting. We talk about this many times, right? In the previous chapter. So this is a return result. Okay, now, next. Oh, you know what? Okay, let's just first create this. Let's just do some experiment, right? So let's just create this my data, right? Let's see. You know what? I'm going to do it. Okay, I'll just create a new file, iScript. Okay, and let's see, my data, right? And then the data frame, and then the first member, right? First component, first member is the vector. The name for the vector is a person, right? And then the C is the vector, and then I'll just abbreviate the Peter P, and then Louis L, and I'll just use the first letter, and M, and then what? The C, right? And then S, right? Okay, so that's the first component, comma, sorry. Comma. Yep, and then the next component or the next member is age. Age is equal to C, 42, 40, 17, 14, and 1, right? And the next one is sex, is a factor, right? The specifically is a factor. And then C, factor, right? Okay, and then C. Okay, now it's M. The next is F. And the next is F, right? And M. The next is M. Right? Okay, so this is a C and this is a factor, so I need one more parenthesis. Okay, good. Now it's my data, right? So let's just execute this, run. Good. No, I'll just make it to okay. Okay, so now, right? Good. So this is better. Okay, so I just create the my data frame, right? And now let's just see the data structure, my data, right? And let's just run. Good. So you see that this is a person, age, and sex. This is column, person, age, and sex, right? And the age and sex. Good. So now let's just the next example is, yes, you can return a factor vector with the sex of Maggie, Chris, and Stewie. The following extract the entire third and the first column, right? So let's just follow the last example. Let's say my data, right? And then, so let's see, 3, 1, right? So let's just execute this guy. Okay, right? So as you can see, there's nothing on the row, right? It's nothing. So that means every row, right? So basically every row. And then 3, 1 is a third column and the first column, right? So you know that this row is empty. And the column is just vector, right? So basically 3, 1. 3, and then 1, right? So it's male, female, female, male, male, right? Yeah, so this, and then the person name, right? So let's just go to the next page. Yep, so everything, right? Good. So as you can see, this, you know what? Hold on. Okay, so as you can see, this shows that, you know, it's every row, because the row is empty, so it means every row, and then the third and the first column, right? Okay. So also you can use the names to name of the vector, you know, that will pass the data frame to access the variable, right? So for example, if you want to see the age, right, then you can say what? You can use the variable name my data. You know, just this is just like a list. You know, that's why there's a lot of similarity between the data frame and the list. To access the data, this name of each member, you use $, and then age, right? So this is a very similar, I mean, this is exactly the same as a list. So let's just execute this. Oops, this is too big. Okay, so now let's execute this, run. Okay, you see, right? Okay, now, but if he wants to, let's say, pinpoint, right? If he wants to pinpoint, let's say, is that this, let's see. Hold on. Okay, so if you want to see, let's say, for example, access this guy, then age and then 2, right? So this is 1 and 2, right? So you'll get 40, right? So my data, right? And then age, right? 2, right? Okay, and let's run. Oops, you know what? Just click this and then run. Okay, so now you're 40. Okay. Oh, actually, before we move to the next example, let's just review what we learned in the previous section, right? List. Yes, you can use this age, right? And then basically you can use this name, right? Name for the vector, right? But remember, in the previous section, you also can use the position number, right? So let's just remind. So basically, instead of age, right, you can say my data, right? If you want to see the whole column, the age is in the second column, right? So the double, square bracket, right? So basically the same, right? It shows the whole thing, right? The vector, or it's the same thing. You know, for this we can say my data, right? And this is like an age is in the second column, right? So dereferencing, right? And then it's a second element, right? So you will see 40, right? The same thing, okay? So I want you to know the both. This is why I said basically the data frame, and list they are very similar, right? Is that, the only difference is what? In the data frame, right? What is the requirement? All the members should be the vector of the same size, right? So that's okay. That's the main difference between the data frame and a list. Okay, now the last example. So this is very important thing that you should know. So what I mean by that is R's default behavior for the character vector past the data frame is to convert each variable into the factor object. So that means I know that this x, right, is a factor because we, from the beginning, right, we set this variable as a factor vector, or the factor valued factor, basically the factor, right? What about this person? This person is the character, is a vector of the character strings, or the vector of the characters, right? The Ch5, right? Vector of the characters. But if this vector is passed into this data frame as an argument, this data frame treats this vector as a factor. Okay? So for example, let's just try to access this person. Okay? So there are a couple of ways. I use the variable name. So my data, right? And then what is the variable name? Is a person, right? And let's just print. Let's execute this. You know that when you execute this, right? Okay, so when you run this, you know that this is the result, right? The PLMCS. And as you can see, which is different from the result shown on your textbook, right? So when you type this, you know, basically, if you look at the book, it's basically shows as what? As a factor, right? Because there is a difference, a version, right? In the previous version, right? The previous old versions, you know, there's some variable, right? It's called, there's some variable called a string as factor, right? You see that there's an optional variable, string as factors. If you look at the previous version, right? It used to be, you know, this used to be, as you can see, you know, string as a factors. It's now, I mean, in old version, right? The string as a factors is a true in old version, right? But in the for the newer version of R, right? This is said to be a true, and that's why you see there is a difference, right? And if you look at the books, in the example shown in the textbook, you see that what they treat this person as what? As a factor, even though you set this as a regular vector, they treat this regular vector as what? As a factor. If, right? If set, you know, this the option called string as a factors, right? Is for example is a true, right? Okay, so now so I'll show this as an example. Okay, so let me just clear this screen. Okay, and then let me, you know, let me just rerun this command, this line. Okay, now I'm going to change. It's not really change. Add another another option is called string, right? Strings. Oops. Strings, you know, as factors. Okay. So that's a string as a factors, right? So it's currently, right, the default setting, right? Default currently is false. Okay, the default settings are false, and that's why when you type my data person, it shows that, you know, just regular factor, you know, string as a factor. So basically, however, right, if you want to treat every character vector as a factor, right, then you have to set this as what? True, right? So that means I'm gonna treat every string, I mean every vector of the characters, right? Convert it to what? A factor. So let's say it's true, right? And then let's just run this. Basically, I add one just option, string as factors, and make it true, right? So let's just run this, right? And then when I type my data and try to access the same member, which is a person, and then let's just run this, and you see that now you see that it is what it has a levels, right? That means it's a factor, and because I just make it as a true, right? But if you just make it as a false, right, that means the data frame won't, right? Data frame is not going to basically, you know, data frame, right? This data frame function does not make this person, right? This you know, vector as a vector. It's not going to treat, right? It's not going to treat this as a factor, right? So, you know, let's just run this, right? And then see, now it's what? It's just regular vector, right? Since this is a false. So this is very important, okay? So I want you to understand this option, right? String as a factor. It's a very important option, actually. And because this depends on the version, right? If you use a newer versions, I think the default is a false. But if you use the previous version, then it's by default, this is what? True. So just make sure. I think the best way is just set this up always, right? Either true or false, right? It's up to you and depend on applications, right? But it's better not to be ambiguous, right? It's better to be clear having this option. Okay, so then you don't have to worry about it, right? Whether default value is a true or false, you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so that's a frame. And yeah, so in next lecture, I'm going to talk about adding data columns and combining data frames. Okay, thank you.